Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're here with my first student. Here is Edgy. He's the first one of them to top original. He got top 32 with a deck. I think he was playing a pure list. We will see it shortly. And Edgy, anything you want to say?
Nothing at the moment. I'll save my shoutouts for the end of the video. Did a lot of testing at my locals with a bunch of friends, so heavily appreciate them. Of course, thank you Fusionists for teaching me everything I know about this deck. I would not have done what I did if it wasn't for the teachings. So
No, thank you, Edgy. You are the first student that started all of this, and I'm really proud of you, as I told you many times. And let's see your deck. Let's admire the list.
yeah. All right. So you mentioned it was more of a pure build. It's not quite, and you'll see later. So of course, standard ratios: 3 Lucius, 3 Fimena, 3 Mueller. If your deck is not running this, I don't think it's right. Yeah, it's just a standard 3-3-3. Nothing much to talk about here. Some people have been, if off and on, about multiple Urgula. I do play 2 Urgula and 1 Pan. I think 2 Urgula comes up, especially in this build. 2 Urgula is a very nice grind card. Having 1 engrave, especially whenever on your follow-up, and you have no cards in your hand, you can always just go Urgula, add back a Lucius, add back a 5 mana, depends on what the field is. And then you can also just have Urgula, always add back 5 mana on your turn. So that's why 2 Urgula.
Yeah, so
Of
basically,
course,
Urgula is there for very grindy games. So when your opponent has DD crowd a lot of times, your monsters or the first Urgula, you want the second one, because as I said to the students a lot of times, the thing that you want to return with the traps is other traps or spells. You know this very well. But basically, if they DD crow a monster while you have a trap card in your graveyard, you don't want to return the monster which is banished, because otherwise you will not have the grind game you want. So you put back the trap, and basically the second Urgula also helps hard drawing in the mirror match. It's also pretty good against the Vanquishal field spell and the Yami field spell, of course. Although if you wanted to build for Yami, you would, I think, play second Pan, not 3 like just Cotton did, in my opinion. But second Urgula is very good. I think you know this as well. So yeah.
Yeah, precisely actually. I didn't really build more for Yami for the main deck. My side deck is mostly for Yami, but again, 2 Urgula, and you'll see later why 2 Urgula also comes up. Standard spell trap, 3 Kitu, 3 Rahu, 1 Pan, 1 Flame. Just standard. I do main deck 3 Fenrir. I think Fenrir in this deck is a very nice going first card. Of course it gets sided out for going second, but Fenrir is just a nice card in this deck, especially paired with 3 King of the Swamp and 1 Poly. Having Fenrir search Fenrir and just use it as a body, just so you can use it as a fusion target whenever you make a Guardian Chimera or 5 mana if you use just a name. I think once you resolve Guardian Chimera in this deck, you just automatically win the game.
It's over, yes.
Yeah, you just automatically win the game. And Fenrir is also a nice way to out Heralds in this deck. When your opponent was on Yami and make a Herald, not too many outs. There are some outs, but Fenrir just adds a layer, and it also outs the Retaliatancy, which I did not get Retaliatancy in this regional, but I did have somebody sided against me, and they just did not draw it.
It's also good for contact C, because you can search another Fenrir, go into SP, then if you're dodging like an impermanence with SP, then you can summon the second Fenrir, and then you return the SP with a Fenrir, which is insane. So it basically makes all the C cards that people might play basically useless. And even if people are not siding Retaliating C and Contact C for the Dracotail cards, I would still play Fenrir in original because a lot of people are not up to date with the current meta deck building, so they might still play those cards. So you don't want to get free losses due to these cards. And also, I wanted to ask a question. Do you keep Fenrir going second against Yami? This is an important question.
I do not. I don't. So the only time this card has come up going second is, of course, on game one. However, I have better cards going second against Yummy, and you'll see that in the sideboard. I don't think this card is good going second in general, just because they can cookie book a moon it and or like just pop it. They can even bounce it back during battle phase with a surprise, which actually happened to me. He had two surprise set, and he bounced back my first Fenrir, and I just didn't have a way to out. I generally your opponent can play around this card. Um, I don't think it's that great going second. There's been instances where it did came up, just the banish effect, but I think it's just better as a body in searching a body.
Yeah, certainly. And this is what Fenrir does. The only banish thing you want to get off of Fenrir is basically Retaliating or a Nizuna, maybe, or Holy Shoe. But basically, Fenrir is there because it's a free special summon 24 body, which is pretty important against Yami, which I think it's the most popular deck at the moment. I don't think our deck has an issue with Vanquishal because basically we mainly trained for the Vanquishal matchup. And against Vanquishal, all you need to do to beat them is resolve one spell card. So that's game. So we're just trying to focus up a bit more into Yami matchup from now on. Because it seems to be a better deck than Vanquishal in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. The two Vanquish Soul decks that I did play against, I did beat them relatively easily. However, my two losses, and I will say that later, but they were both against Yummy. So I do want to be more aware of that matchup in the future. Going on, I do play the Shaddoll package. I played two Beasts. I played one Hedgehog and one Squamata. Yeah, Winda's just a nice card. Winda is just a nice card. I summoned it against my Yummy opponent. He can't do anything. I summoned it against a Vanquisho matchup. They can't do anything. It's if you summon it on the Yummy player turn 0, it puts them on better have droplet. Because you can even if they go obedience school and you chain to 5 mana to summon the Winda, they have no place unless they have droplet. It is just a really good card in this format. But yeah, that's that. That's all for the main deck. Monsters, other than for hand traps, you will notice that I only play the spells and traps of Rahu and Kitsu, and of course the traps. I think you want to have as many monsters as possible in this deck, just because everything works so nicely with the fusion spells. Even if you're like getting rid of a hand trap, it's still you have ways around that hand trap, and that's what I like about this deck.
Yes, that is true. The main power of the deck is the recursion that Altherion gives you to return the hand traps, basically. But in my personal experience, I do tend to play a few more spells than the other Dracotail players because the spells that I'm running are basically extra ways to fusion summon or help you going second, such as the Shaddoll fusion. But if you want to do a more standard build going into the format, if you're not very used to playing those extra spells while cutting some hand traps, yeah, this is definitely a correct way to approach the deck. And also the Shaddoll package is a drawing package that helps you keep cards in your hand so you can basically beat every grind game. And seeing Jesse Cotton's list, for example, in the top 8 or 4, what it was, the first thing that I saw is that it has very good grind game, not such as explosive turn 1 or 2, but very, very good grind game. And this is one approach you can take with a deck, and you can grind out your opponents with Fenrirs, with multiple Urgulas and Pan, with the trap cards, with the hand traps, of course. So all of this works in your favor if you want to approach a grind game build, such as this one.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, going forward, I do wish to play more hand traps in this build. I only play 12, including 5 mana, but the 9 that is not 5 mana is 3 Fuelos, 3 Fuelos, 2 Bell, 2 Ogre, and 2 Nib. I do want to play a third Nib in this deck, 100%. Nib is one of the strongest cards in this deck, especially paired with another hand trap like 5 mana. Um, Bell and Ogre have their fair matchups against Yummy and Vanquish Soul. So I do think these two cards are very nice to main. And then Fuelos is just Fuelos. I drop Fuelos when my opponent normal summons a hand trap and Yummy to go full combo, and I draw I draw infinite. So it's a very nice card to resolve.
What you might notice is that Edgy is not playing as Blossom, which I told him to play. So yeah, I was really interested in that. Why not playing as Blossom? Because as Blossom, I think it's very good in the current format because it can, as Blossom, the Capsy Search 2. If they start with Engage, which is pretty strong usually, you can ask Blossom the Dracotail traps. You can ask Blossom every Vanquishal card basically. So and Fuga if you, but the deck doesn't really care about Fuga, so we leave it outside. But why didn't you play as Blossom?
So I saw Ash Blossom as more of a protection card against Charmies. If you Ash Blossom a card in this format, I feel like they have infinite push through, especially in Vanquish Soul. If you Ash Blossom like a Staker Soul, they can always just normal summon Raisin. I think Ash Blossom on turn 0 is also really nice. Um, like Ash Blossom, the Holy Sue, the summon, Ash Blossom, the Izuna send. I think those is like instances where I wish I had the card, but it actually did not come up. My opponent's way of like playing the game, they always had like starter and extender, starter extender. So one Ash would not have saved me in some situations. I do think it's a good card this format. I do want to fit it into this deck because I think having it just for like turn 0 plays is decent, especially for like again like the instances where I told you about like Holy Sue and all that. But just never came up. I think there's better hand traps in this format than Ash. That's why I played 2 Bell, 2 Ogre. I think Bell and Ogre, in my opinion, are a little better than Ash because Bell still hits the Dracotail spells, still hits the Dracotail's traps, a better way in my opinion because I think Bell is more versatile than Ash. I also think Ogre is a little more versatile. I think Ogre is the card I will be gotten though because it didn't come up as much. But Ogre paired with a Nibiru, your opponent summons Ripper, and then you Ogre them. They have no way of stopping Nibiru after that. So that combo came up a couple times.
Yeah, and Ogre, I think post the ban list is gonna be even stronger than people might think because now people play Ogre for Paradise, but I think Ogre is very very good if you hit the Vanquishal field spell because it gets rid of an extender, a starter, and the trap card, which is a very important piece of their end board. So, assuming Vanquishal is still a very very good deck, post ban list, we will see what happens. I think Ogre might not stop sync play because of the reason that right now they are kind of forced of holding it for the Paradise Masher, but if they start using it on the field spell, I think it's gonna be even better, and it's also good against Yami, especially like in some scenarios where they only end up with a Link 1 plus some monsters, you can Ogre the Link 1 of Yami, so they cannot synchro summon, which is huge. I mean, at least they cannot synchro summon into a Yami synchro, which is the main issue. And they will be forced to synchro summon something into like a Starham or something, which is awful for them. So yeah, I think Ogre might even see more play after the ban list, and even more copies.
Yeah, 100%. And going back to the Yummy situation, if they start their turn by making the Link 1, and then you Ogre them, they can't even activate their minion because they need to control Link 1 in order to do that. So they need to have some form of extension that's not a normal summon because assuming they already normal summoned. So I think Ogre is very nice this format, and that's why I played it over Ash. Alright, yeah. So that's the main deck. Main deck is 40. I didn't want to play more than 40 because I think that would just hurt the consistency of the deck. Very consistent deck, very much so. I loved it. Going on to the extra deck, I play 3 Arthalion, 1 Gulamel. Some lists do play 2 Gulamel. I think the second Gulamel is a nice crutch in this deck. But if you just have a way to constantly resource your 1 Gulamel, I think it's very nice. Saves you an extra deck spot. I think all you need is one as well. It
Uh,
never came up that I needed more than one.
Something not a lot of people might know, they might know it, but they might not do it. You can put back Gulamed with Urgula.
Yep.
Because
I actually did that before because
yeah,
it's a spellcaster.
it's a spellcaster, so you don't even need multiple of Gulamels. Multiple Gulamel is only needed in very few scenarios, and I noticed the more we played, the less we were using double Gulamel. So I think all of us in the masterclass we decided to cut one Gulamel to make space for more fusions, and especially when you're playing 3 King of the Swamp without any Cartesias, Dragon Mage, whatever, you have a lot of space for good fusions like Dragoon, the Blue Eyes fusion, sometimes Relinquished, the Millennium Eyes, I don't remember. Garden Chimera, all of this stuff gives you space in the extra deck. So yeah, overall you don't need the second Gulamel.
Yeah, 100%. I think most pure builds they do play the second Golem, but since I am on the Shaddoll cards and the King of the Swamp package, my extra deck is a bit tight. That's why I only play one Securitan. I don't play the Mysterion. I tried testing Mysterion, never came up for me. I think the only time it came up was in like a Razio matchup, which this deck is already naturally good against Razio. It doesn't need Mysterion.
Yeah.
So that's why I only play Securitan. So these 5 cards are my main go-to summons with like Key2, with 5 mana and all that.
Yeah, these are standard. And I noticed that I also summon Mysterion a lot less, but I still play it because there are a lot of scenarios where it kinda comes up a lot. And you will notice it when you stop having it in your extra deck that, oh, now if I had Mysterion I would win. Mysterion doesn't come up often, but when it does, it wins you the game. It came up with me when I played against Mitsurugi, and I banished all the reptiles they had. They had like 4 reptiles, so that was insane, right? And yeah, I do believe Mysterion is good into Yami, but not in most scenarios. And about the ratios that you see right here, I played a lot of games where I summoned 3 Altherion and 0 Gulamel in a game. So that's why we play 3 Altherion and 1 Gulamel only. And Secretarian is obviously one of the best extenders ever. A lot of people think of this card as a auto win in the mirror, but Edgy knows that that's not the case because you have a lot of ways to play around that. You summon Gulamel using Pan or Mululu, and you either negate or pop Secretarian, and then you summon your Altherion. And this is a way to prevent losing the mirror match. But you still summon Secretarian a lot of times in the mirror to prevent Altherion, because Altherion is the most important card of the deck.
Yeah, 100%. Something I even came up with this card is also very nice, specifically in the Shaddoll build, because you can put your Shaddoll monsters back into the deck,
Yes.
and you have more ways of, sending cards to the deck, and it's just more ways to recycle your cards for Winda. So it's very nice.
Mhm.
Going on though, the King of the Swamp package, I play 1 Dragoon, 1 Tyrant, and 1 Guardian Chimera. I don't play the Millennium Eyes Restrict. I don't think it's needed, especially when you have Dragoon. It's just a blowout card against Yomi. I got my Dragoon up to 5,000 attack, and he could not beat over it. There's nothing they can do. Even if it's like a 3,000 attack Dragoon, it's a bit harder, but it is definitely possible. But when you have a 5,000 attack Dragoon, they cannot get up to 5,000 attack. So I got to a game state where I just kept drawing cards and passing. They have no way of outing it, especially when you don't activate cards to turn on their talents and thrusts. Yeah, so Dragoon is just a very nice blowout card against Yummy, putting it up to like 5,000 attack. It's only like 2 negates. And just sitting on it, there's nothing they can do. They can summon as many monsters they can get. The highest they can get though is 4,600. That's them gaining 3,000 attack on a 1,600 monster. Again, there's just nothing they can do about Dragoon.
Yeah, that's
Tyrant,
true.
yeah.
And that's true for Vanxul as well, because Vanxul, other than specifically Nast Knight, they don't have a way to out a 4k Dragoon. There's no way. So yeah, Dragoon is just good in every matchup. Only Dracotail have an easy way, quote unquote, to out Dragoon because Muluru negates without targeting. But other than that, Dragoon is just an auto-win card in the current meta.
Yep. Tyrant's also a nice card in this deck, especially when you're out of your traps. So, with one of your traps gets Astra Beld, Tyrant's a nice way to reset your material and keep your trap flow game going. There was a mirror match actually when my opponent had ashed my second trap, and I was kind of like behind in the grind game, but then I saw King of the Swamp, and then I made Tyrant Dragon. I reset my traps, and then I was back into the grind game. Very nice card. And then once again, Guardian Chimera is just if you resolve it, you should win the game.
True.
Yeah. As for the Shaddoll cards, I play one Winda, one Grista. So the reason I do play second Urgula is because of the Grista. Sending one to grave off Grist off of Shaddoll Fusion, and then the other one off of Rahu. Very nice. Grist is also just a nice card. It didn't really get summoned much, because it's a rock, unfortunately. So I couldn't really summon it that easily. But the times I did summon it off of Shaddoll Fusion, just kind of won me the game. It's a nice summon negate. So, and then Winda is just
Winda. It's Winda.
Yeah, it's Winda.
It's Winda.
But yeah, these are the only two targets I do play. I did see in a mirror match, my opponent did summon Chicken Naga against me with a Genius. I think that's just requiring more Shaddoll card names in the deck, which I think the more names you play, the less good your deck is. I only play the 4 names because they are just good names to have in rotation. However, you have like Genius in the deck or Shaddoll Dragon. I think Shaddoll Dragon is worth siding. I don't think it's worth maining though.
Yeah,
Same
true.
with the Genius.
That's true.
Yeah.
Genius is not worth playing at all, but if you want to play Sekinaga, you can, because you can send Lucius plus Hedgehog, then search a beast with Hedgehog, set a spell with Lucius, and then you have Sekinaga with a monster negate, because if they try to activate a special summon monster on their field, Sekinaga can negate by sending the beast to the graveyard. So then you get a drop plus negate, and then you still have your Dracotail spell. So the opponent that actually used Genius against you maybe doesn't know that Sekinaga can be summoned with any earth. Because
Yeah.
if he did, you would send Lucius 100% and you wouldn't even play Genius. And I actually wanted to ask you if you considered playing Sekinaga for that reason, or even the other Shaddoll that needs a wind to send pan sometimes.
So half the time there's no need to send Lucius because I want to summon a card that can interrupt my opponent, especially if I'm resolving Shaddoll Fusion. Send an Urgula or even Pan, I think, are the right choices to send. You don't want to send a starter and get that starter back and then normal summon the starter. That seems so much. If that's I think the only reason I played this card was because I wanted to have a reason for second Urgula, and I also think this card is also really good because just if your opponent was special summon a monster, discard, negate. When your opponent goes Holy Sue summon from deck, when your opponent special summons off of the Yummy Synchros, I think this card has more utility. I didn't really see that utility though, which was unfortunate. But I think if you go Shaddoll Fusion, send Hedgehog, send Urgula, you're interrupting your opponent's back row, which you either force the Liberation or the I forgot the TCG name, Force Release. You force the Surprise. You force so much by just sending Urgula. You force the Dracotail spells and traps as well, which if they're not spell trap negating, they should all fusion. There's something wrong with them.
Yeah, and Grista actually negates inherent summons. So when they try to activate Lupus or the Yummy Link, they are performing an inherent summon because they are immediately after this effect resolves, Synchro or Exceed summon. So Grista can negate that summon, which is huge because the monster doesn't even hit the field. So if they try to summon like a Nash Knight, a Synchro, they cannot even get their effects, their quick effects when you activate Grista because they haven't hit the field yet. So Grista not only is a good target for Shaddoll Fusion, it also gives you an interruption. So that's huge.
Yeah. I think going further though, I will probably play Shikimaga. Although I still want to experiment more with this guy. I didn't have much time to experiment with this, but I do think that's a good card. Going forward though, generic link package, Eyes of Blue, Seals, SP, and Claw Sheep. Claw Sheep is for the contact C target. It's if my opponent special summons contact seeds on my field and I have Fenrir on field, okay. You just give me a free body.
Yep.
For Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep is just a nice card also for going for game. You can use your Gulamel and your Arthalion, make a Cross Sheep, and then you can fusion summon into a zone that it points to, and you get both your monsters back. And you also get follow up. So you turn your 2 bodies into basically, what is that, like 4 bodies, 5 bodies?
Yeah,
it's
and when
very nice.
Yeah, and when you don't have enough things to do, like a fusion summon, let's say you are on full grind game and you have some monsters on the field, you can summon Cross Ship, and when you send 2 link materials away, you can special summon back the Altherion or Gulamel, so that triggers the Cross Ship, because it's a special summon monster on their link arrow, and it's a fusion, so then you can summon back Lucius, and from 2 monsters you get 5, so that's insane.
Yeah.
And then you can fusion climb into game, basically. So yeah, Crossip is very good into pure lists.
Yep.
But generally we don't like playing a lot of links other than these ones, like Selene, Artemis, all of these, because it just doesn't come up as often. You need your fusions.
Yeah, I found myself summoning all 4 of these. I basically use every card in my extra deck except for Grista half the time, but every card in my extra deck, and except for the one Typhon. The one Typhon is just a flex spot, but every card in my extra deck has came up. So that's what I like about this build. Yeah, though I wish I could replace the one Typhon. I couldn't find a replacement in time. Just never came up. If you're summoning Typhon, you're basically losing the game. But yeah, that's the extra deck.
Okay, so now show us your side deck.
Yeah, so going on to the side deck, I wish I had more time to prepare for it. It's not the best side deck, but it definitely won me some games. So Shaddoll Fusion, of course, is the best going second card in your deck. 3 Book of Eclipse. I would change this card out, but it's a very nice card going first and second. You don't mind your cards getting booked face down, so going first, especially after you resolved your Gulamel. Book of Eclipse is a nice card, but going second, your K9 opponent has no way of responding to this unless they Ash, which cool, you just forced to Ash, and now you can resolve your Kitu and Rahu. And against Yummy, it's also just a nice card to either force Herald, or if they don't have a Herald, like they activated Obedience School, all their cards just get flipped face down, and their only way of continuing is with Surprise Summon back. Book of Eclipse is just a nice card. I play 3 Phantasme. Phantasme is just a generically good card, especially against Yummy and the Vanquisher.
Especially in this deck, you can search sort of with Magna mode. You can return it to the hand if you're in a really grind game. And Mulsaramis can't do that while you have monsters on field. So Phantasme is just that good because you can even combo it with some other hand traps and with even your engine because it's a dragon. So after you use it, you can even fuse it away for a Secretarium. So just this and Lucius make combo while interrupting your opponent. So it's just good. It's just good.
What's even funnier is also a dark monster. So if you have no dark monsters in your hand for Winda, you can use that as a dark replacement for Winda.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah. I also play three Lancia. I feel like you have to respect Malice no matter what. Uh, Malice is just a good deck. This deck has a nice way of dealing with it by bouncing their normal summon. They don't have continued plays unless they open March here. But just in case if they do open March here, you do have the Lancia. Also, if you resolve one Lancia, you're that matchup you're just winning.
Yeah, keep in
My
mind,
friend actually, yeah, yeah,
keep in mind, guys, that Edgy is actually playing in an A, so they also have Orcast in there. Um, so yeah, he's just respecting the matchup just a bit more.
yeah. My friend got I think he got third with Malice, so it's definitely still a real deck this format. So I think you do need to respect it. And then the final card, the card that won me 3 games in my last game in round 9, Spooky Dogwood. Dogwood was supposed to be Pankratops. I could not find Pankratops at the venue, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm playing Dogwood. Uh, Best decision I've ever made. You resolve one Dogwood, you keep recycling the bag with Arthalion, you're never losing that game. It's such a good card in this deck specifically. Any deck that has or any card that can just continuously recycle themselves and give you infinite value and give you infinite um life points, especially in a time format. It's one of the best cards in this deck. And it won me 3 games. Every single opponent got so upset when I activated Dogwood.
That's true. And also, if you remember, we were discussing in the masterclass of Dogwood being an alternative way of beating Paradise Master, because if the Vanquishal player really wants to Paradise you, then if you activate Dogwood and you have literally no hand traps, that's fine, because they will waste a lot of resources in making the Paradise, or you get a lot of HP, and then uh, let's say they paradise and they resolve, that's fine. When you pass back the turn, they cannot kill you. So basically, you baited their paradise. They lost 3 bodies off the field for nothing. For nothing. They accomplished nothing. And if they don't go into paradise and they set up a minimalistic endboard to play on your turn, then that's game over for them. Because this deck can very easily beat a Vanquishal landboard. Very easily. Even if it's full landboard, with one spell you can beat it very easily. But even if they try to play the bare minimum special summons, then one Ketu blows up their whole field.
Yeah, exactly. The side deck was mostly built for Yomi and Vanquishal. I didn't really consider the mirror in mind because I feel like the mirror is more of like a skill matchup. Um, the
It is.
My
It is.
record, yeah. I did draw against one of the mirror matchups, but um, that's just because we went at the time and our decks were the exact same thing. He even had Krista in his extra deck as well, so it was like basically the same thing. But he played Cartesio over Fenrir. Going forward though, I don't think I'm gonna keep main deck in Fenrir. I think it's a nice card, and I think I got lucky this time around by not getting conflicted with my turn 0 plays. So I definitely think Fenrir is going to be coming out. I think more pan in the deck is necessary, so I do want to try a ratio of 2-2, 2 Urgula, 2 pan. I definitely want to play a third Nibiru as well, and I also want to fit 3 Ash into the deck. I experiment putting Ghost Spell on the side. As you said, Ghost Ogre is one of the better cards, so I think Ghost Ogre is going to be in the main deck spot still. But I think Ghost Spell is going to be coming into the side, and then just filling a 3-3-3-3 ratio.
So yeah, that's it. Any shoutouts you want to do?
Yeah, shout out Blue Moon Games, locals, help me out test all the time. Shout out Brainwash. Shout out Seth, amazing guy, always hooking up the spots. Yeah, shout out my test partners. Shout out, of course, Fusionist hooking me up. Buy the masterclass. It's definitely it's definitely shout out everybody in the server, honestly. I love going back and forth. It's about like what to play, different builds, and yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I'm very proud of you, and keep in mind how many people were in the regional. I think it was pretty big, right?
It was 333 people, and this was also my first regional ever.
I mean, what more do I need to say? 300 people, which is honestly one of our nationals. Like, our nationals is that many people. In a new format, with a new deck, first regional he went. He's my first student, and he topped his first regional. Like, what more do I need to say? Honestly, I'm very proud of you. Obviously, we can work up and getting to improve, both with the list and with the gameplay. But honestly, thank you guys for watching. If you're interested in the masterclass, I will leave it down link in the description for those who want. And yeah, honestly, thank you for watching. Thank you, Edgy, for the deck profile, and don't forget to like and subscribe.